Yo, what's going down, Green Screen Entertainment fans? Your boy Jay Green back with the one and only Rachel. Tell them what's up.
What's up?
All right, now we are going to give you our breakdown, full spoiler, full shit talking review of Fast and the Furious 9. Now, straight off the gate, let me try to give y'all an understanding of the culture of the films, the previous movies, and where this one picks up and kind of what goes on, okay? So, number one, the culture of the films, even if you've only seen the first Fast and the Furious movie, or if you've seen all of them, is family. Bond, relationships, friendships, loyalty. That is what this culture of film is all about. Every single fucking movie, Vin Diesel's character, Dom Toretto, is always preaching family. He says to his girlfriend, to his technical wife, actually, because they actually got married in like part 4, okay? And I quote in part 6, when they found her ass and she had amnesia, he says, and I quote, "Never turn your back on family, even if they turn their back on you." That's a good quote.
You gotta practice what you preach, though.
You gotta practice what you preach. So, real quick, the last couple of films have definitely been soap opera slash saga swag, okay? So let's just pick up with part 5. They break Dom out of jail. They're on the run in Brazil, okay? One of their little heists goes wrong. Because it goes wrong, they end up getting into it bad with one of the cartel type dudes in Brazil. They end up robbing his ass in a big old spectacular car chase at the end of the movie. They get away with like millions of dollars.
Yeah.
All right, so they should be off the grid. In the end of that movie, there's a cut scene where it shows that Letty, Dom's girlfriend, who we thought was murdered in part 4, is still alive. So, in part 6, in the beginning, The Rock goes to Dom and says, "Yo, I'm after this dude, Owen Shaw. I need you and your crew to help me out." He says, "Why in hell would I help you, cop?" Like, why are you so mad at this guy? He let you just go. But anyways, he's like, "Why would I help you, cop?" And he's like, "I think you're going to want to look at this." And he shows him a picture of Letty and he's like, "Yo, she's still alive, Dom. We could find her. We could bring her back home, back to your crew. It's all good." And he's like, "Okay, cool. I'm going to do it." So part 6, I loved part 6. I thought it was great. I thought that Luke Evans that played the villain in that movie, super sinister, right? I thought it was serious when it needed to be serious, grounded when it needed to be grounded, and lunacy, outlandish action when it needed to be. And I thought it all fit very well with what we know the Fast and the Furious franchise to be. Keep that in mind. Now, part 7 went a little off the rails. They're all over the place, all over the map with the story. And they did have a hard time because, of course, Paul Walker's unfortunate passing at that time. They had to try to tie up some loose ends. To me, that movie was just very like, it was too glossy. And I feel like there was no real stakes for our heroes. And maybe that was because they didn't really want to bring too much gravity to the fact of how you can get hurt in a car, given the fact of what happened to Paul Walker, maybe. So I give it a little bit of a pass. Part 8, no pass. F. Gray Gray, the guy that directed The Negotiator. We're talking about Kevin Spacey before we knew what Kevin Spacey was doing. And Sam Jackson, the great Sam Jackson in The Negotiator. And he also directed Friday, classic Ice Cube Friday, and he fucking directed Ice Cube's son in Straight Outta Compton. You have no right to give us what you gave us in part 8. That shit was ridiculous. They jumped the shark. It went way too far in the left field with some of the stupid ass stunts. Dom is now a fucking superhero. He can't even be touched. His car is magic. It's like fucking the Knight Rider car. Like, it's just ridiculous, okay? So I was like, I'm not really feeling 7 and 8. I was hoping and praying that in part 9, they would reel it back just a little bit, because Justin Lin was directing part 9, and Justin Lin did some of the better Fast and the Furious films. He actually did part 4, which brought it a lot more grit. It was still outlandish. They still did some wild shit, but it was a little bit more gritty. So I was like, okay, cool. Maybe we're going to get that back, because that's the part that I liked about it. I didn't mind that it left the racing stuff, but I didn't mind that it went to, like, you know, espionage, spy shit. All of a sudden he's like Ethan Hunt and shit like that. I didn't mind that because it had a little bit of grit, and it had what one Robert Meyer Burnett would call verisimilitude, like a sense of reality.
Yeah.
A sense of reality. Now,
A sense.
here we are at part 9. Are you able to even break down like what this plot was actually about?
No.
Like, honestly, look, y'all out there know I pay attention to this shit. Yeah, I watch movies. I'm not saying I'm a professional movie reviewer or podcast. I don't be doing all that professional. But watching movies, I'm a professional. I'm a fucking savant, okay?
Facts.
I don't know what the fuck the plan was. All I know is this. if you had to boil the plan down, basically, Dom and Letty, they're hiding out, super paranoid. Everybody else is doing whatever everyone else is doing. Kurt Russell's character from part 7 and 8, he's been taken, murdered, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. Charlize Theron, the villain from part 8, she's been kidnapped, and she's working with John Cena, the bad guy, and his little crew. Mm-hmm. That's all we know. They're after some kind of infinity stone because this thing glows and it can do all types of magic.
No one knows what it is.
No one really knows what it is or what it can actually do. And I guess they're trying to get it back. But then the bad guys get it, and then they have to like somehow destroy a satellite. And for some odd reason, with all the government connections they have, they choose to send Tyrese and Ludacris up, in space to destroy the satellite.
Literally in spacesuits, in a car / spaceship.
There's duct tape on the spacesuits and all that shit. Like
candy floating everywhere.
It's fucking wild.
So weird.
Now, that's basically the plot. So I don't know what else to tell y'all other than that. I was really trying to pay attention. Like, what's the motives here? I don't know. Now, with all that said, Rachel, I want to know what it was you liked about the movie first. And then I want to know what it was you didn't like about the movie. And I want to know who you think this movie is for and what you think people might get out of it. That's like 4 different things. I know it's a lot that I just gave you. So let's go with what did you like about the movie first?
First off, I thought this movie was absolutely ludicrous.
All right, no pun intended.
I thought it was funny.
She's hilarious.
Anyways, what I liked about this movie, I can't really say I liked much about it.
Nothing?
It was I will say that the one part that I did like, or the only portion of this movie I liked, was the storytelling behind how. Gosh, what do I want to say?
You can say it. You can spoil it.
Basically, between like how they showed Dom and how he has a brother, and like the history of what happened with his family, and how they revealed all of that. That to me was actually pretty intriguing, and was the only portion of the movie where I was like paying attention, like, oh, this is interesting, like what's gonna happen now. That was pretty much it.
Okay.
Then it just went off the rails.
Okay. Now, you like the backstory about the brother and the family and stuff like that. Okay. Makes a lot of sense too, because we're wondering, hey, how do you have a brother and we've never heard about him in 8 films already? Right. And family is like your biggest core value, Dom Toretto.
Yeah.
So what didn't you like about the movie?
A lot. I didn't like, so in the beginning, I didn't understand why they are so, like, I get that they're like laying low, but they're clearly overly paranoid. So they seriously walk around, like one car drives up and
we're talking about Dom and Letty, right?
Dom and Letty, yeah. They're like living their best life out in the country with their kid or his kid. And one car drives up and automatically it's like closets open, guns, like what? What's one car driving up? Like she like kisses him goodnight. The little boy, Letty, kisses him goodnight, and she's still wearing a gun holster on her back. Like I don't understand. Why are you so? This is excessive. So it kind of starts out like that. This fact that they go into space in a car, rocket ship, all the stunts were just like, they didn't even try to be believable. Oh they God. Were just like, they so didn't bad. Give a crap, clearly. What else didn't I like? I also don't like, I think Dom and Letty are probably the worst movie couple.
Ooh, speak on it, babe.
I've ever seen.
Let's hear about it. Give us an example. Give them an example.
I just feel like they have no chemistry. Like, I don't know if they have chemistry in real life. Maybe I really think that they just dislike each other.
You know what?
They're like, there's no physical chemistry. There's not even like glances of affection. There's not, it's like no one's home.
That's fact. Think about it.
They're the worst.
Even from the first movie. Damn. You right. We'll talk about it. Go ahead. What's next?
Anyway, so that I didn't like because I feel like they're not believable. I don't know. I just thought it was just a bad movie.
All right. Now, I think the next one was, what do you think people will think about this movie? Like, who do you think this movie is for? And what do you think people will think about it in general? Like, do you think they'll like it? Do you think they won't like it? The average person, average moviegoer.
I don't know. I think that if I think for the person that's going into it actually expecting, like, kind of like you said, like, okay, like, please give us something good in Fast and the Furious 9. So I think if you're going into it with even a twinge of hope that it might be a good movie, this movie is not for you. You're gonna hate it. You're gonna come out disappointed. You're gonna be like him, like staring at the screen, like what is happening?
Oh, so right.
I feel like if you go into it with knowing it's gonna be the way it is, and you just don't care, you have no expectations, and you just want to laugh, then I think this movie is for you. I think you might enjoy it and just take it as a comedy.
Okay. So with that said, do you think that this movie is worthy of a trip to the theater? We're coming off of a pandemic. It's one of the first. I mean, there's obviously been some bigger movies, or big movies that have come out. But, I mean, we had Godzilla, we had Quiet Place, you know what I'm saying? So now we kind of got like Fast and Furious. We've been waiting for this movie for over a year. Yeah. Do you think people should check this one out in the theater? Is it worth a trip to the theater right now?
Save your money. Spend what you would have spent on the movie ticket and order in some takeout and sit on the couch and have some wine or some screwball.
Peanut butter flavor, okay.
And please watch this movie at home because there is nothing that you need to see on the big screen.
All right. Now listen, I'm going to break it down like this. I am a huge Fast and the Furious fan. When I seen the first movie, I didn't have a car at the time. So I'm leaving the theater. My mom is driving, and all I keep thinking about is step on the gas. Let's go get it. You know what I'm saying? Fast and the Furious 1 had me amped up to buy like a fast car and put some exhaust on it or some crazy shit like that. I don't even know what all that stuff entailed, right? When Fast and the Furious 6 came out, I had missed actually like Fast and the Furious 3 in theater. I saw Fast and the Furious 1 and 2 in theaters, right? But I didn't see Fast and the Furious 3 in the theater. I completely missed the ball on Fast and the Furious 4, caught it way later, and I was like, oh shit, they done changed up the franchise. This is like actual like murder mystery type film. And I was feeling it because why wouldn't I like a murder mystery with the characters that I fell in love with in part 1? Because remember in part 2, Dominic Toretto wasn't in part 2. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I'm feeling where this franchise is going. Part 5, you got The Rock in there. And The Rock, dude, that movie had me won over when The Rock gets off the plane and they're like, hey, what else do you need from us? And he's like, stay the fuck out of my way. I was like, oh shit, come on, Dwayne, let's go get it. So I was completely on board for the Ocean's 11 heist film that Fast and the Furious 5 was, even with the over-the-top stunts and that last car chase scene. I don't give a fuck how many people tell me that shit's unrealistic. It just doesn't make sense with physics. That movie made it believable enough, right? They made it look believable enough that I can suspend my disbelief. Mm-hmm. So that's what was okay. I know that the Fast and the Furious has ridiculous stunts, but there's still a shimmer of believability in a lot of those stunts, at least up until part 6. I mean, that long freeway scene, you're stretching it right here. At least
they're on the freeway.
Or not the freeway, I'm sorry, the runway scene. When they're on the runway in that plane in part 6. However, that scene was entertaining enough, and the actual hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that was entertaining enough, and what was going on and the stakes that were there at the time kind of like make you blinded to the fact of like, how long is this goddamn runway? Like, really? Come on. This is ridiculous. So that's the thing that Fast and the Furious did very, very well, was they rode that line of like, here's something that's entertaining, soap opera-esque, saga-esque enough, and here's a couple outlandish-ass stunts that are completely unbelievable and could never really happen. They rode that line where they went back and forth of it. The problem with this film, speaking about the film by itself, and a lot of people out there, a lot of reviewers and critics and stuff like that are going to be like, oh, they go so way far out of bounds with the stunts and everything like that. And that is a fact. Mm-hmm. These stunts are ridiculous. Like ridiculous. They're using some kind of magnet technology that, first of all, is very similar from a movie I just recently saw and caught on Netflix called Six Underground, which it was a Michael Bay movie. Maybe some of y'all out there didn't like it, but I would say give it another shot, because I thought that movie was kind of cool. How they were trying to, the whole premise and the plot of the movie was interesting, but they used some like magnet technology that I felt fit extremely well and made sense to that movie. In this movie, it's like, why do we have this? I feel like it was just a plot device to use during chase scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Mind you, the person, Ryan Reynolds, using it in Six Underground invented this technology. Dom and his crew just found this technology. They don't know how to actually use this shit. And they're using it to their advantage like they invented it. Like they knew, hey, if we turn it up this much, it'll move a car that weighs this much. And like, come on, guys. And then almost the entire film, Ludacris is talking about science and the numbers. So based on science and numbers, you kind of have to know what level to put this thing. It's ridiculous. It's bullshit. Okay. So anyways, what I was saying is that in this movie, they do go so far outside the realm of real reality, but there's no intriguing story, stakes, or consequences behind it. So now you're just really like looking at the screen like, come on, guys, again.
And the fact that they survive all of these stunts is.
And they even mention that,
ridiculous.
Tyrese mentions that in the film of like, yo, how are we still here? How are we still standing? How are we able to do this? Now check this out. I get it that you're trying to be funny. You're trying to like poke fun and like kind of look at the audience and wink, wink, say, hey, all this stuff that we do is unrealistic and we're still here and we're still alive.
Right.
But in a movie that goes that over the top, I feel like you're literally just like smacking us in the face with like, hey, we can do stupid, dumbass shit, and it doesn't matter. You're still going to buy a ticket, and unfortunately, They got me. I did, okay? But if you look at a movie like Mission Impossible Rogue Nation with Tom Cruise, in that movie, there's a scene where Benji is telling him all this stuff he has to do underwater, and he's like, oh, you can do that. And it's like, we know he's the hero. We know he's going to make it. But even then, as the hero, he has a look on his face like fuck, I got to do all that? And that's how you wink at the camera. That's how you say, yeah, how's he really going to do all that? That's how you have fun with it. Not doing it in a way where like they're laughing at us like, hey, we got your money anyway. So I didn't like all the over the top stunts. That was ridiculous. The other thing that I didn't like was not only did they have over the top stunts, the story itself was over the top and ridiculous. Nothing followed continuity of Fast and the Furious. Now I know what you're saying right now. But Jay Green, it's Fast and the Furious. Come on, you just go and shut your mind off. Who gives a fuck about continuity? I do, goddammit.
Yeah.
If you're telling me that, first of all, if you're going to come out with a movie, Fast and the Furious 3, Tokyo Drift, and because maybe it didn't do that well, you're like, oh, no, it didn't. That's really supposed to be part 7, and this over here happened here. If you're going to make that point of saying that these movies were just filmed out of order, you're taking it serious as the creators. So now I'm going to expect you to take your story serious. Also, in the film, Dom, again, he never mentions that he has a brother in all 8 films. So that's going against the very core values of that character. To me, if you build a universe, right? If you have Star Wars and you have like Jedis, and Jedis can do this and they can do that, and in all the Star Wars saga, they can do this and they can do that. The second they can do something outlandish like, I don't know, bring someone back to life, or I don't know, take someone's life force, people are going to be like, well, what the fuck? Where'd this shit come from? This makes no sense. Star Wars maybe gets a sliver of a pass because they have prequel books and shit like that. Now, I don't know how to read, so I'm not going to read those prequel books. But Fast and the Furious, you don't got no comic books out there. Yeah. Not last time I checked, and I've been to the comic store recently. So fuck you, right? The other thing was like the brother situation. Like, I understand that like John Cena is playing the brother. Again, I'm going to go on the continuity thing. The kid playing his brother was like super short. He didn't look nothing like John Cena. John Cena's like taller than Vin Diesel.
He developed later in life.
I don't want to hear that shit for a minute because they were basically grown when all that shit went down. Also, and I'm going to spoil something for you right now. This is a big problem I have. The two, let's just cut to the chase. I don't want to keep y'all here forever, okay? But the two biggest glaring issues as a fan of the Fast and the Furious franchise, as someone that sticks up for these motherfuckers all the time. Number one, we're to believe that Vin Diesel and his brother, John Cena, the character, parted ways because he feels that his brother killed his dad. That he tinkered with his machine, with his engine in the car, and then that's why he was, going all crazy on the track and crashed, got his bumper clipped, and all that sort of stuff. We're to believe that that's why they parted ways. He said, "Look, I washed my hands with you. I'm through." Right? But later we find out that his dad was actually trying to throw the race, and instead of just like blowing his engine like Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder. He says, hey, do some stuff to my engine where it's going to leak oil or gas or some shit like that. His engine catches on fire, and then he gets his bumper clipped, and then that's when he blows up. And it's a pretty cool little scene or whatever like that. But we're to believe that the dad told the brother to do that, and he didn't trust that Dom would do it because Dom is the guy that he is. Okay, so then why, when Dom is talking to his brother, why wouldn't his brother just say, no, you don't understand. Dad told me to do this. Why is there not that dialogue?
Right.
And even if there was that dialogue, why wouldn't Dom be like, look, I don't believe you. Dad would never do that. And then give us that conflict.
Yeah.
Where his brother kept trying to be cool with him. Like, no, you don't understand. Dad said to do this. Or else, blah, 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 whatever bills we'd have to pay. That would have been an interesting conflict. You could take out a lot of the action. You could take out a lot of the whatever was going on. Give us that conflict where Dom, the person who preaches family, his brother's trying to be his family. But they didn't have that. It was literally just like, hey, if I win this race, you keep on driving. Next thing you know, he keeps on driving. Now he's a spy in the underworld or some shit. Yeah. Like, come on, man. What? So that was like that whole thing. Like, I get you're trying to create the family dynamic, and it was interesting to see, okay, this is kind of what happened. But the problem is the way that they tied it up just made no sense whatsoever. Not to the characters, not to the script, not to the movie that we're watching in the moment. I don't give a fuck if it's Fast and Furious or not. It made no sense.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing, we've been wanting justice for Han for some time. You've seen the hashtags, justice for Han. Jason Statham character apparently kills Han in part 3, Tokyo Drift, right? But yet they're working with Jason Statham. There's a movie with Jason Statham's character. Look, I like Jason Statham just as much as the next guy, but we're talking about the movie, the universe. Why are y'all working with this guy? Didn't he kill your homie?
And they know that he killed him.
Yes, remember in part 7 when Han dies, like in the end of it, right? Because technically part 6 ended with Han dying.
Yeah.
There's a box sent to Dom's house, and Jason Statham calls him, and he says, Dominic Toretto, you don't know me, but you will. And the box blows up. So not only did Jason Statham hit Han's car, kill his ass, but he also tried to blow Dom, Brian O'Connor, Mia, and their child up. And you're working with this guy? Get the fuck out of here. I don't play that shit for a minute, goddammit. So that's part 8. They're hanging out with dude. Part 7, they're being kind of cordial with him, sharing that banter back and forth. So in this film, Han comes back. He's alive. You've seen the trailers. They don't give any real explanation to why he's alive other than there was a hologram driving the car. He doesn't even say that. All he says was, Mr. Nobody, Kurt Russell's character that we met in part 7 and part 8. He's like, this guy recruited me, and he said that the only way to keep me alive is to pretend like I'm dead. So I guess apparently they staged Han's death, faked it, even though he was actually in the midst of running from the gangsters from part 3. They don't explain that. So I'm like, what the fuck you talking? What the fuck you doing?
Which just follows the theme of the whole entire movie.
No,
they just throw things.
Yeah.
I'm saying they just throw things in there with no.
They just throw shit at the wall. Like I feel like a fucking 5-year-old was writing this movie.
It's like they did it for the reaction. They like people going, oh my god, Han's back, but they don't really care that it. I heard
someone in the theater when Han actually showed up when they finally revealed. First of all, they teased this was his reveal, like they fucking teased Godzilla in that fucking Godzilla movie that came out in 2014. They kept showing like his silhouette, he'll click the gun or whatever like this. Finally, when they showed his reveal, I heard some chick in the back talking about, oh my god, Han, and she's clapping and shit. I'm like, girl, please don't pretend like you didn't see the trailer. You knew this motherfucker was coming back. So yeah, so he comes back. He avoids answering Tyrese's question. Tyrese is asking him like a bunch of times, like, how are you still alive? He avoids it till the very end. Now, those are the two things that I feel like were the biggest glaring issues. The brother situation and then the Han situation made no sense. So it's like pretty much after those things, I was completely checked out. Yeah. I had a couple laughs and a couple chuckles, but not good laughs like I'm on this roller coaster ride of lunacy with you guys. It was more like laughs like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, this shit really worked. All the movies that they try to make and people try to get made in Hollywood. Yo, that movie, what was it? Judas and the Black Messiah. That was a good fucking movie. That was a real movie about a real dude with some real shit that was jumping off. And I saw an interview with the director of that movie. I don't remember his name, but good dude, whatever. And he said he took that movie to like so many different Hollywood studios, and they kept turning him down, turning him down, turning him down. Finally, Warner Brothers was like, yes. So that movie about Fred Hampton, there was a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
With a good script and great acting and like just kind of hit you a little bit right here. Everyone was saying no to, but because this movie, I guess the last couple of the sequels made a couple of billions of dollars, they're going to say yes to a movie that makes no motherfucking sense.
Because it's guaranteed to make money. People hear Fast and the Furious and they're like, okay, I'm going to buy a ticket. Just like we did.
So angry, but you fucking right, baby.
I did enjoy when you told me. I did enjoy Tyrese in this movie, and I enjoyed it because you told me about get your paycheck, Tyrese. So every time he overacted, I kind of chuckled to myself.
So look, if y'all never heard of I'm pretty sure you have. They got millions of followers, but on YouTube, there's a channel called Cinema Sins. Hilarious. I found this channel like years ago, and they basically kind of like break down movies in a super sarcastic way with like what's unrealistic about the films. And I'm telling you, it's number one, it's a great way if you don't actually want to watch an entire film to watch an entire film, get the whole film and the gist of it, but laugh your ass off because these guys are hilarious. CinemaSins, check them out. But in the movie, anything that Tyrese is in, whenever Tyrese is in a movie and he's overacting, one of their lines that they quote all the time is earn that paycheck, Tyrese. And so every time when I'm watching a Fast and the Furious film and he's making some outlandish facial expression or reaction or whatever, I told her, I was like, hey, every time he does this shit, just think, earn your paycheck, Tyrese.
That was
it's
pretty funny.
Hilarious. But yeah, this movie is just like, it's just a bad film story wise. It's a bad film continuity wise. This movie betrays characters' motivation, core values. Real quick, I know I'm straying off topic. Maybe it's the peanut butter whiskey, whatever. But Dumb and Dumber, y'all have seen it. Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels, classic, 1994, if I'm not mistaken. In that movie, in the end, they had an opportunity to get on a bus full of beautiful bikini models who, oddly enough, were in their bikinis on the bus for whatever random reason. It's Hollywood, whatever. They don't get on the bus. Legend has it that in the script, they were supposed to get on the bus. And that was supposed to be like, hey, you guys went through all this crazy trouble and drama and people obviously like you as characters, so get on the bus. Go ahead. But legend has it, Jim Carrey's like, no, we're not going to get on the bus because that's not what our characters would do.
Yeah.
Our characters are too dumb for that.
Right.
That is how you make a quality fucking film.
Yeah.
You allow the characters to be the characters, to do what the characters would actually do. And Fast and the Furious dropped the ball. So I think that this movie is not worthy of a trip to the theater because the action is, what?
I said, oof.
Yeah, I don't think this movie is worthy of a trip to the theater because I think that the action is subpar. It doesn't look like anything that it should look like in 2021. It doesn't look like the action that it should look like for a movie with previous installments that have grossed $1 billion. Mm-hmm. It's not that legit. It's not anything that we haven't seen before from trashier films on Netflix or some other random streaming service or some shit like that. The story is whack. The characters aren't the characters. They don't even look like they're enjoying the jokes that they're saying in this film. Like in other movies, they look like they enjoyed, like Tyrese and Ludacris and everybody looks like they enjoy the banter that they're doing back and forth. Mm-hmm. They don't even look like they want to be in this movie. I feel like I would love to be able to sit and have a drink with them and be like, look, do you guys really like what you
The only scene that I thought that they might have enjoyed, which I actually genuinely chuckled at, was when they were down in their little dungeon area.
When they built that little area out with the computers and stuff?
Yeah, how they got there, I have no idea.
They were in a dungeon that was abandoned for I don't know how long. They had 3 laptops. Oh,
how convenient. It's now
they had 3 laptops and somehow it's a pristine studio setup and I don't know how the fuck that works
turned
out.
into Star Labs all of a sudden.
Speaking of which, I gotta address this. So that dungeon that she's mentioning, the bad guys come up in there. They get John Cena or whatever like that, arrest his ass. They bring him in there. They put him in lockup or whatever like that. The bad guys come in. They break his ass out. Dom is fighting to help everyone get out. Everyone's trying to get out. They're trying to escape. Excuse me. Dom is still fighting all these bad guys. Now, sometimes in Fast and the Furious, I think it was 7 or was it? Yeah, it was 7 when they go back to LA. Dom is fighting with Jason Statham's character, and he's like, "The street always wins," which is kind of a cool line, but just poorly executed. And he stomps, but the parking garage was already a little broken up. Now, no way that a mere
Stomp.
But no way that a mere man is going to break up a parking garage, even if it's like definitely severely damaged. But I give him a pass. At least it was cracked.
Yeah.
In this movie, there's like chains hanging down, and the ceiling is just fine. Ain't nothing going on. It's not like no grenades or bombs went off at this time. He literally pulls his fucking ceiling down with his bare hands. And look, it doesn't look like Dom is doing push-ups every morning in this movie.
No.
It don't look like he's doing push-ups, sit-ups, bicep curls. He's just a thick dude that drinks Corona all the time. That's about it. I just had to say that. Like, what the fuck, man? So anyways, no, this movie is not worth a trip to the theater. I spent the money, so y'all don't have to spend the money. Don't go see this movie. Look, I like Vin Diesel. I like everybody that's in this movie as people. I'm sure they're amazing and great. But no, we can't. No, don't do it. It's terrible.
You let me finish my thought.
I'm sorry, baby. Go ahead.
My thought was that the only scene
so
that
passionate.
I thought that they had chemistry and that I actually laughed at was when they were in their little like wannabe Star Labs dungeon and they were talking, and then Tyrese was like talking about like, oh, we've like, how have we survived all of this? And then like Ludacris was kind of playing along with his jokes, like, oh, like, do you think we're superheroes? And like that I thought was actually kind of funny. It was humorous.
Okay, but it was better in part 6 when there was Owen Shaw's team. And he's pointing out everybody on the team that is basically the doppelganger, if you will, or the double, if you will, for their team. Like, oh, this blonde dude is Paul Walker, and this person over here is Letty, and this person over here is so-and-so. That was funny. Like, so I agree. That scene was cool. It was all right. I see where they were going with that.
Yeah.
But like I said, we've seen it before. It's been done better in this franchise. So not only are they recycling their own shit, but it's done better in their previous films.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry. This movie
gets up.
Remember, this is a franchise that is close to my heart. I love Fast and the Furious. I love it, and I love these characters' core values, and to see these values betrayed like blatantly, like they don't even give a fuck. They're just doing shit to do shit to get our money and shit like that. Wow. Ooh, this is like the worst studio directed film, because that's basically what it was. A studio directed film. They did all the testing and with all the audiences and, oh, what if they did this? And what if they put duct tape? Wouldn't that be funny, guys? Like no, I'm sorry. No.
Well, my question for you is, since this one was so bad and you said it's not worth a trip to the theater, now if they make a Fast and the Furious 10, are you going to see it?
Oh, I'm going to see that shit. God damn it. Look, Jay Green. This is when you say your name, babe.
Oh.
Jay Green.
Rachel.
Green Screen Entertainment. We out.